The Galactic Assembly waited in the vast chamber of light, where every species that mattered had gathered to witness the arrival of Earth's representative. For decades, the planet called Earth had been dismissed as young, primitive, and reckless. Their early broadcasts filled the stars with noise, music, and arguments, amusing the elder races who had long mastered silence and order. When Earth finally applied for admission to the Assembly, it was met with laughter, though eventually granted a chance to present itself. Now the day had come. The appointed hour approached, and the high delegates of the galaxy leaned forward to see what this small blue planet would send to the meeting. The expectation was simple. A small shuttle, perhaps something unpolished, barely capable of interstellar flight. The Council's host had even cleared a minor docking lane, far from the main ceremonial platform, assuming it would be sufficient for a human craft. Yet far beyond the station's orbit, something vast and silent had arrived. Sensors caught it first. The outer perimeter of the station flickered with alarm signals. Mass readings spiked off the charts. A shape emerged from folded space, black as a collapsed star, edges gleaming with a strange blue shimmer that danced like the breath of energy itself. Every observer froze as the readings poured in. It was enormous, larger than the flagship of the Thaler Dominion, more massive than any vessel ever built by the core empires. The machine defied known engineering ratios. It was not a shuttle. It was a warcraft built by humans. It did not broadcast greetings. It did not signal identity. It simply appeared floating in silence, absorbing the light around it. The Assembly's ships began to drift aside, making space out of instinct as though a predator had entered their midst. Then came the transmission. A calm voice, unmistakably human, echoed through every channel. Earth vessel Resolute requesting permission to dock. The station's commander stared at the readouts, his mind struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the craft. The hull read signatures unknown to any database. Its energy field didn't fluctuate. It pulsed like a living thing. Earth vessel Resolute, the commander finally answered, voice unsteady. You are cleared for approach. Welcome to the Galactic Assembly. Every word was carefully measured, though fear clung to each syllable. As the massive ship approached, the entire station trembled. Gravity sensors fluctuated under its weight. Hundreds of smaller vessels retreated to avoid collision. The Resolute slowed, maneuvering with unnatural precision for something of its scale. When it finally stopped, it eclipsed the docking bay and half the viewing dome, casting the chamber in shadow. Delegates rose from their seats in disbelief. Murmurs spread through the crowd. "What is that thing?" whispered one of the ambassadors. "They were supposed to send a transport." "Perhaps this is their only ship," another replied. But deep down they knew that was not true. The docking bridges extended. Metallic locks clamped into the side of the enormous vessel. When the hatch opened, a faint white mist rolled out. From within, figures appeared, humans. Their uniforms bore the emblem of Earth, a stylized sphere encircled by wings. They moved in perfect formation, calm and composed, not aggressive, yet radiating quiet confidence. At their lead walked a man whose presence commanded the hall without effort. He was tall, with an expression unreadable, carrying no visible weapon. His eyes moved across the assembly as if measuring its every heartbeat. The crowd went silent. He reached the central platform and gave a slight bow. "On behalf of the United Earth Directorate, I greet the Galactic Assembly," he said. "We appreciate your invitation." The Assembly's speaker, a creature of crystal and light, addressed him cautiously. "Representative of Earth, we were not expecting such a vessel." The human's gaze flicked toward the viewport where the shadow of his ship loomed. "The Resolute is one of our exploration-class warcraft," he replied simply. "We brought it for security purposes." Security. The word rippled through the crowd like a tremor. The speaker blinked. "You anticipated danger?" "Not danger," said the human, "but misunderstanding. We thought it best to arrive prepared." There was no boast in his voice, no arrogance, just an unsettling calm that spoke louder than pride ever could. The delegates began whispering, translating, analyzing. The Thalor emissary leaned toward the speaker. "Their vessel's energy core exceeds containment thresholds. That ship should not exist. Either their physics are flawed, or ours are." The speaker turned back to the human. "Your technology appears advanced, beyond what we believed your world capable of." The man nodded. "We developed rapidly once we understood what was beyond our atmosphere. Necessity encouraged progress. Another delegate, scales shimmering like molten gold, raised a claw. How did you develop such a craft without assistance? None of our networks record trade or mentorship with your world. We learned on our own, said the human. Every obstacle was a lesson. Every failure a teacher. Silence settled again. The assembly felt the weight of that statement. Entire civilizations depended on knowledge passed down or traded across eons, yet here stood a species that had risen alone, unaided, and now arrived with a ship that broke their understanding of physics. The speaker tried to regain control. Earth seeks membership in this assembly, yet your arrival seems confrontational. Why bring a warcraft to a diplomatic meeting? The human turned his gaze to the holographic map that floated above the table, a vast display of galactic territories. His expression didn't change, but the pause that followed carried meaning. When Earth first reached the stars, he began, we found ruins, silent worlds, records of empires that vanished without trace. We learned that peace without readiness is an illusion. We came not to threaten, but to show that Earth has learned from history. He raised his head. We seek cooperation, not conquest. But we will not kneel to survive. The word struck deeper than any weapon. Some species lowered their eyes. Others looked in awe. Even the most prideful among them felt the shift. Earth had not come as a petitioner, but as an equal. Outside the station, the Resolute remained motionless, its black hull glinting faintly against the stars. Yet deep within its structure, countless systems pulsed with silent power. Observation drones attempted to scan it, but their data returned empty. Every signal that touched its hull vanished. It absorbed everything, light, energy, and curiosity alike. The Thylor admiral whispered to his aide, if that is only one of their ships, then Earth's fleet must be. He didn't finish the thought. Some truths were too heavy to speak aloud. The human representative was escorted through the assembly hall, where holographic displays chronicled the histories of every member civilization. The guide, a neutral synthetic voice, explained the structure of the galaxy's governance, its peace accords, and its military disarmament clauses. When the human stopped before the display of the Council's defense forces, he merely studied it for a moment before asking, do these fleets protect all members equally? In theory, answered the guide. In practice, resource worlds are prioritized. I see, said the human quietly. That will change. Later, in private chambers, the Assembly's High Council convened. They debated Earth's intentions. Some demanded surveillance, others proposed cautious alliance. The reports on the Resolute grew stranger by the hour. Its power source was unlike any known reactor. Its weapons unreadable, its systems shielded beyond comprehension. One counselor proposed sending a fleet to escort it away from the station. The motion died before reaching vote. None dared provoke a ship that massive. Meanwhile, within the Resolute, the crew maintained their discipline. The ship's corridors hummed softly, lined with dark alloy that seemed to drink light. At its core, an engine unlike any in the galaxy throbbed with measured rhythm. It drew power not from fusion, nor from antimatter, but from a controlled manipulation of gravity itself, a technology born from human curiosity and necessity. Their journey had taken years through folded space. They had crossed dead sectors, survived ambushes from raiders, and bypassed gravitational anomalies that would have crushed lesser vessels. To the crew, this meeting was not an exhibition. It was a declaration that humanity had arrived and would no longer be dismissed. Back in the chamber, the assembly resumed. The human representative stood again, addressing the delegates directly. Earth does not seek dominion. We seek balance. We have seen what happens when empires fall into arrogance and complacency. We prefer cooperation built on respect, but we will not compromise our security. The speaker asked, and if the assembly refuses Earth's membership? The human's voice remained calm. Then we will continue alone. We have traveled farther than anyone thought possible without your help. We can continue without your approval. A low murmur followed. The courage or audacity of that statement rippled through the ranks. Finally, one of the elder species whose civilization predated recorded history rose. You claim peace, yet you arrive in a weapon. The human met its gaze. We built weapons so we would never again have to use them. Can your people say the same? The elder fell silent. The vote that followed was the fastest in the assembly's history. Membership was granted by overwhelming majority. Some said it was diplomacy. Others whispered it was fear. But in truth, it was something else, a recognition that the galaxy had changed. When the human returned to his ship, he